My name is Kayla Saldariaga, and this is my Autoethnographic Project. My great grandfather was a pastor in Cuba around the 1950s. Around that time, communism was really bad. My great grandfather was actually arrested for having political beliefs that did not meet Fidel's standards. With that in mind, he feared for life. He sent my grandmother to Miami so that she can have a different opportunity. When I was born, my father joined the military, leaving my grandmother and my mother to take care of my siblings and I. Because he was in the military, we moved around Florida a lot. We went from Kendall to the Keys to Lehigh Acres to Fort Myers, simply because we always had to be around the station that my dad was stationed at, the base. With that in mind, I saw a lot of different sceneries. I was in a lot of different neighborhoods. I met a lot of different types of people. I was always around a variety of people. Around 10 years old, I believe, I was already in about 7 schools, because I had moved so much. Around middle school, I went to a school called Shenandoah Middle School, which is in the middle of Little Havana and Coral Gables here in Miami. When I was in middle school, I wasn't doing so good. I went on a bad path because the teachers did not care as much. I went from being an A+ student to a C- student, and my parents saw a difference in my academics immediately. They pulled me out and started homeschooling me. Homeschooling was the best thing I ever did. I went from being in 8th grade and not knowing what was going on, from doing 2 years in one and going to 10th grade. And then at 14, I took my entry exam for Florida Keys Community College called the PERT. I passed, and at 14, I was doing dual enrollment and I was a 10th grader. Amazing. Around that age, I started realizing that education is very important. My mom would host a South Florida graduation for all of the homeschoolers, and I would realize all of these students come together for the best education that they can get. And her company was also a nonprofit, which made me realize money doesn't matter. It's all about what you do for students. It's what you do for people in general. That's what humanity is. Around junior year, I was placed in a high school called Barbara Goldman Senior High in Miami Lakes. Socioeconomically, it was much better. The teachers actually cared if you succeeded. There was more programs. I was pushed to do the best that I could do always. I went from being a C- student when I was in middle school to an A+ student again, graduated with a 3.75 GPA. I was in summa cum laude, and I also graduated with internship programs. Being on both sides of the spectrum, I would say that I have seen a lot. I went from being in a school in Little Havana that the teachers didn't care if you walked out of school, if you submitted your assignments, to a school where teachers actually cared what you did. The students would get together, do community service, do volunteer work, just spirit week. Everything was for the students. Because I was so blessed to see both sides, it's made me realize that just because a school is in a minority area doesn't mean it does not deserve recognition. It does not mean that it does not deserve attention. I want to get my degree in education because I want to make a difference in these students' lives. I want to go back to these minority schools that I was once at and help and be a teacher that genuinely cares, and be a teacher that helps her students and pushes her students to succeed and to realize that the goal in life is not to just drop out and to have a regular job, but to get a degree, to own a business, to do something with your life important, meaningful, so that you can change the pattern. And I think if I wasn't on both sides of the spectrum, I would have never been able to say what I'm saying and actually feel it. I would have never been able to switch my degree to education. So I'm very blessed to have picked my school experience to be with Vera University, and I cannot wait to get my degree and make a difference in these fields again.